Probably by far the most common operation that you're going to do with the mill is called a facing operation. And because our end mill has a flat bottom on it, we can face on the surface using the end of the end mill by running it back and forth. You can also face the side using the edge of your end mill running back and forth. An important consideration when you're doing a facing operation on the top with an end mill, as we can see in the side view here, is the direction that you're going to move the end mill and the block relative to each other. The ultimate goal would be to make the chips that you're cutting go out into open space versus being pushed into the side of the block that you have not yet cut. So in a normal operation with the top view of that situation, we see the left-hand side is the uncut material, the right-hand side has already been cut. If we have a 4-flute end mill rotating clockwise and we're moving the end mill that direction relative to the material, as the flutes cut into this uncut material, almost immediately after being cut, they're getting kicked out into open space. So that's your normal operation. If you go backwards and go the opposite direction, moving our end mill down in this case, that's called upcutting. And you'll notice as the flutes come in and cut the material, the chip has to get pushed into this higher uncut side all the way around until it's free to get kicked away. That can leave you with a different type of surface finish, and more troubling, it can also create a lot of upward pull on your material, pulling it straight out of your vise or removing it from your fixturing. So given the option, you always want to consider what's going to make your chips go into open space and avoid cuts that make your chips go into the uncut material. So here's a couple of examples. If I wanted to take this material, we're looking down at the top of it, and I wanted to face this whole area using the flat end of the end mill. Two common patterns that you might take to avoid upcutting. One, if I go and move relative to the block this direction, all the chips that I produce are going to get kicked out that direction. Once I've created that straight path, I could go back to my starting point, scoot over a little bit, and then make another cut in that direction. Again, all the chips are going to move out into the open area. So repeat that pattern, going back to the start, over, down, up, until you're all the way across the top. Another option is to use a spiral pattern. So if we start in the same area, rotating clockwise, move down, all the chips are kicked out that direction. Now we can go horizontal instead. And once again, as we move across the block, all the chips are kicked in that direction. Going upwards, they'll go that direction, and then we get back to the start. This time we can scoot in a little bit more and repeat that pattern all the way until you've cleared the entire surface.